This is a mainline railway, the mainline railway from London to Exeter. The mainline railway ostensibly from London to to Devon and Cornwall, in fact. Certainly the southern part of Devon and all of Cornwall. And look at it, it's pathetic. This should be a 2-track electrified railway, and it is this. Hopeless. Absolutely hopeless. Let's see if this works. I did have some things to say about this. At first, yeah, this is happening. The reason for this, by the way, you know what? Let's listen to me earlier today. No, let's not listen to me earlier today. Let's listen to me earlier today.
Well, more than half of England has now been declared officially in drought, according to the Environment Agency, and it comes as parts of the UK are heading into the 4th heatwave of the year so far. Temperatures of 35 degrees are forecast in some places, with amber and yellow heat health alerts coming into force. Yet again, some train companies, South West Trains and those in the east of England, are warning that their trains will have to run slower, and so they're changing timetables. Previously it was down to metal rails buckling in the heat. Now it's because the lack of rain has affected the ground that supports railway embankments. Gareth Dennis is a railway engineer, the writer and host of the Rail Natter podcast. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
This is it's a new concern, it would seem. Tell us what we should understand from it, how it happens.
Yeah, so the railway is built on top of mud. Essentially, it's built on top of soil, and that soil varies to its resilience against successive droughts. So particularly in the southwest of England and the east of England, East Anglia, we have a lot of clay soils, and those retain a lot of moisture in winter, but they also lose that moisture pretty quickly after you have a succession of droughts. Now, what does that mean? Well, the volume of the soil, if you like, reduces very dramatically as the water leaves it. So particularly clay soils, water, the reduced water content in that. So a bit like squeezing a sponge, really, your dish sponge. Squeeze the dish sponge, it takes up less space. It's the same for this soil. So as it takes up less space, that doesn't happen nice and evenly. It happens variably based on how much rock there is in the soil and so on. And the track sat on top needs to be nice and smooth for high speeds. If it's kind of dropping down at varying rates, it creates lumps and bumps, and you cannot run trains at their normal speed over those bumps. It's uncomfortable for passengers, but also there are safety risks ultimately about running trains at full speed over that lumpy, bumpy soil. So, as we have these successive and very dramatic, climate change induced heat waves, those are desiccating the soil earlier and earlier in the year more dramatically. And we're getting more of those bumps, more of that poor track quality, as me as an engineer calls it. And that's why we have reduced speeds.
Is there anything they can do about it? Or do they just have to wait until the soil fills up with water again?
Well, there are a few things. Yes, you're right. One of the ways is to just kind of wait it out until we hope to get some rain. But, as climate change bites harder, that's a less and less effective mechanism, essentially. There are other things you can do. You can change what vegetation you've put next to the railway, because that reduces the rate at which moisture leaves the soil. You can do some of the engineering. You can do things like what we call micropiling to kind of basically support the track a bit better. So it's a little bit independent of where that soil is sitting. But one of the challenges you've got on the southwest main line, the west of England main line, rather, that runs from London down towards Exeter, is that a lot of that mainline railway is a single track railway. And so actually it's less about the engineering of the resilience against the earthwork problems. It's more about the fact that to run a resilient timetable is very difficult on a railway that has large sections of single track. So actually the right thing to be doing long term is planning to double that entire stretch of railway so you can have more resilience and run a better, more resilient timetable. So, you've got to have that full systems view of how to resolve the challenges we have, tackling the changing climate as it happens, increasingly rapidly through the years.
Gareth Dennis, thank you very much.